Hi, I'm Sarah with People for Bikes. Thanks for joining us in this series as we share our passion for making biking better for everyone. For decades, protected bike lanes were largely missing from American mobility networks. That would change when in 2007, New York City began building protected bike lanes at a rapid pace and helped set off a new wave of innovation across the US. Today, 480 miles of protected bike lanes contribute to the 1,200-mile network of trails, pathways, and quiet neighborhood streets used by more than 800,000 New York residents on a daily basis. With the expansion of bicycle routes on city streets, along with the 2013 introduction of City Bike, the city's public bike share system, New York now sees around 500,000 trips made by bike each day. We spoke with a local expert to learn what makes New York City so great for biking.
As far as actual details of what's happened in New York to get people biking is to build more bike infrastructure. Over the last 6 years, we've really built over 50 lane miles a year. Even more importantly, we've been able to average over 20 protected lane miles per year. We collect a lot of data on where people are riding, where our numbers are increasing. One of the important things that we do in New York is we really look at who is coming into the island of Manhattan. But building it faster is what has actually changed the landscape in New York and kept our numbers jumping at roughly 8% a year since the 80s. Secondarily, one of the most important things you can do is just listen. There's so many people out there riding. Putting your ear to the ground, having these workshops, talking to people, you really do get a better idea of where people are riding. You can't just do protected bike lanes. You can't only do capital projects. You have to kind of deal with what's out there right now, listen to where people are riding, use your planners to think about where people could be riding. Where we succeed at DOT, what's kind of different, we listen and we react.
It's clear that with careful planning and smart construction, New York City helps meet the traffic flow needs of drivers, pedestrians, and people on bikes alike, helping everyone get where they're going with the greatest safety and the least amount of hassle. But prioritizing the needs and interests of the city's 8.4 million residents on a limited budget means the city has to select its projects carefully. Backed by a robust data collection effort, New York City works to implement projects that have immediate and far-reaching benefits.
Biking is growing so fast in New York that we really have to prioritize projects with immediate benefit. What we focus on is the areas like bridges, the connectors, the greenways. What we're trying to do is create linkages. If you can link one borough to another over a bridge, or if you can link one protected bike lane to another protected bike lane, even if it's very, very difficult, that's going to bring immediate benefit to everybody who uses that lane. So you get a multiplier effect where there's more and more people using the spaces. I would say the other thing that really has come in recently, City Bike. Our City Bike system, which I believe is the biggest bike share system in North America, we have a tremendous growth in users, upwards of 100,000 on many days. What's special about that is we see where people are leaving and where people are going. And now we can use that data to prioritize where bike lanes really need to happen. Some of these things that have recently come up that have really made a good argument are the crosstown routes in Manhattan, where all of a sudden you're seeing people, you used to have to walk across Manhattan. Now they can hop on a bike and in 5 minutes be across town. So that's a new need that we're seeing from bike share that we wouldn't otherwise see.
Miles of protected bike lanes are emboldening New Yorkers of all ages and abilities to take to the street on a bike, while the expanding reach of City Bike makes cycling increasingly convenient for quick trips and connections to public transportation, even for those who do not own a bike.
Parking is an issue in New York, but I would say even more than that, space is really key. And you have to go about bike planning with the assumptions that vehicles need access. You can't just say all of a sudden, no cars, we don't care about the pickup and drop off, we can adjust things. This is like the best part of our job is if you don't get it right, you can come back and do it. Hotel loading zones, they were not in original plans, but people were having a lot of trouble with the protected bike lanes, the protected parking lane, and then crossing over the bike lane. So what we had to do was we had to shift down the bike lane a little bit, make an area for people to safely get out of their cars and then cross over. If you want that bike lane, we have to accommodate the other items on the street. What I see changing in New York is really a broader base of support following this generalizing trend that's getting away from these old bike communities. And it really is broad-based. We need to be paying attention to new communities and figuring out ways that they're going to be more apt to bike. The pandemic has really shown us that people don't have resources in these communities. You know, how can the industry kind of push new people to ride bikes? It's about making everybody safer. And the fact is that our protected bike lanes consistently make the streets 20% safer for all people on that street.
By pioneering the first network of protected bike lanes in the US, New York City established a new paradigm for other cities to follow. Increasing the number of people on bikes and encouraging participation from new riders requires we change how streets work. Thanks for joining us as we looked at what makes New York City an amazing place for riding bikes. Visit our City Ratings website for more tools and resources that will improve the health, livelihood, and future of our streets, cities, and planet. Together, let's create a better world through bikes.